Good morning. I'd like to call this meeting of the Guthrie Board of Education to order for Tuesday, August the 16th, 2022. Would you please call the roll?
Schroeder.
Here.
Pearson.
Here.
Davis.
Here.
Smedley.
Here.
Gerard.
Here.
Salee. Plagg.
Here.
Mr. President, we have a quorum.
Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. At this time, we will engage in a moment of silence. Thank you. Item 6 on our agenda this morning is the recommendation, consideration, and action upon a 10-cent increase for all paid student breakfast and lunch meals.
We had an error on what we had the board approve the other night with one grade, and so we wanted to clean that up this morning prior to the start of school.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the action to increase all paid student breakfast and lunch meals by 10 cents.
Second.
There is a motion and a second to approve the 10-cent increase for all paid student breakfast and lunch meals. Any further discussion? Roll call vote at this time.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Gerard.
Yes.
Plagg.
Yes.
6 ayes, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Item 7 is the recommendation, consideration, and action upon approval of contract with Centennial Contractors Enterprises, LLC for construction management services.
This has been quite the endeavor to get the contract. And that's something that we've gone through a lot of discussion with, and I've consulted with multiple people, including our former board member, Jennifer Bennett Johnson, visited with some other people in the construction industry to make sure. And the culmination of that discussion we bring to you today to enter into a contract with Centennial Construction to serve as the construction manager for the work to rebuild Cotterill. And also, at the conclusion of the meeting, I have some potential site plans that are on my conference table in my office if you'd like to take a look at them as well. And I know that when we went on the tour the other day, the 3 board members that were with me, we went out to the site and looked at those and took some of the discussion and recommendation that came from that and incorporated that into the site plan. Still going to be some modifications, I'm sure, but if you guys would like to look at that after the meeting, feel free to be glad to have that available to you. Any questions on the contract or discussion that I can offer?
Yes. It's on page 16 on your thing. I think it was maybe not. Let me find it. But what I'm asking about, just tell me what the pre-construction phase for $247,500, what that is, and also when you all met with the construction people, did you discuss a percentage? Because this percentage is above the average for that size price.
Well, and
I looked it up online. I've done a lot of research.
On the first question, we'll get to that first. That was a question that I brought up with Jennifer because I think that's obviously on the high side of that. And Jennifer's experience with this company is that high side has produced fewer change orders throughout the project and also has contributed to lower costs in the course of the guaranteed maximum price as they go through the design phase. It's something that I spoke with people in the construction industry about, and it is on the high side. As far as the percentage, I found that all over the map. I got contracts that were at 10%. I got contracts that were at 4%. And so by looking at that, I kind of came to the conclusion that this is somewhere in the middle of what the industry standard is. I think that varies with construction manager, obviously, and it also varies somewhat. What I found is as we got further away from the metro area, the percentage went up. And I think that's probably a product of geography of subcontractors and their ability to perform. So I looked at all of that prior to bringing it to you, and I know that was when we went through the negotiations, this was less than what is their industry standard for what they do with work in other entities in Oklahoma too.
Because I just saw, and I did some research online and stuff, and saw the average for this was about 5% for this type of project.
Well,
And because your interest decreases as the rate goes up, not increases, and that's what caught my eye more than
yeah,
anything else.
and you know, Janae, I looked at that and I found projects of similar nature in western Oklahoma that were at 10%. And so that's where with other reputable construction managers. And so that's where I came to the, and we had some haggling to get to 6.82. And so that's kind of where all of that were things that we closely looked over. I'll tell you that with Jennifer Bennett Johnson's experience with this construction manager, she had no reservations even with the high end of the pre-construction costs, because she said that they have a history of no change orders and a lot of work with the architect up front to try and save on the cost of construction.
As I said, what all is encompassed in the, pre-construction based services?
They will be with us as soon as, if we approve this, then the meetings will start very soon with the architect and the owner's reps, which would be myself and Cody, to begin discussing phasing of how this would work, along with what materials selection in order to make sure that we have the best cost containment in construction. They come to the table before we ever start on drawing up the plans, other than, all we got right now is a site plan to look at.
And Cody will be there too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just to make sure we're not getting substandard or anything.
Well, and that's what I said, Cody and I will be the owner's reps.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the contract with Centennial Contractors Enterprises LLC for construction management services.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the contract with Centennial Contractors LLC for construction management services. Any further discussion at this time? Roll call vote, please.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Smedley,
Yes.
Gerard,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
6 ayes, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Item number 8 is the recommendation and consideration and action upon agreement with ProCare to provide occupational therapy services for Guthrie Public Schools for 2022-2023 school year.
Both items 8 and 9 were items that kind of came about because of some staffing issues that we have with our people where we have students that require these services, and we have not been able to find staff to do so. So they are in order to provide services that are required for some of our students. Recommend approval.
Mr. President, I make a motion we approve the agreement with ProCare to provide occupational therapy services for Guthrie Public Schools for 2022-2023.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the agreement with ProCare to provide occupational therapy services for Guthrie Public Schools for 2022-2023 school year. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Smedley?
Yes.
Gerard?
Yes.
Clegg?
Yes.
6 ayes, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Item 9, recommendation, consideration, and action upon agreement with ProCare to provide virtual school psychology services for Guthrie Public Schools during the 2022-2023 school year.
Similar to item 8, this is items that are required by law for us to provide services to our students, and we've been unable to find staff for these.
Mr. President, I move we approve the agreement with ProCare to provide virtual school psychology services for the Guthrie Public Schools during the 2022-23 school year.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the agreement with ProCare to provide virtual school psychology services for Guthrie Public Schools for 2022-2023. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Schroeder?
Yes.
Pearson?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Smedley?
Yes.
Gerard?
Yes.
Clegg?
Yes.
6 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay.
Go ahead and read it. And
Okay.
if the board desires an executive session, that's why I put it in there. So if
Item 10 on the agenda is the proposed executive session for the purpose of discussing employment of personnel, FMLA request, resignation, separation from employment, and transfer of position request, all set out on the personnel reports. Extra duty assignments is listed for 2022-2023, teacher negotiations for 2022-2023, support personnel handbook for 2022-2023, and administrator's handbook and salary schedule for 2022-2023, disclosure of which information would violate the confidentiality requirements of state and/or federal law, all pursuant to 25 Oklahoma statutes, Section 307B, 1, 2, and 7. There's no motion at this time to go into executive session, so we'll vote on action as set out in the personnel reports. Item 11.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the personnel reports.
Second.
There is a motion and a second to approve the personnel reports. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Schroeder?
Yes.
Pearson?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Smedley?
Yes.
Gerard?
Yes.
Clegg?
Yes.
6 ayes, 0 nays.
Item 12, action upon recommendation of extra duty assignments as listed for 2022-2023.
Mr. President, I make a motion we approve the extra duty assignments for 22-23.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the extra duty assignments as listed for 2022-2023. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Schroeder?
Yes.
Pearson?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Smedley?
Yes.
Gerard?
Yes.
Clegg?
Yes.
6 ayes, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Item 13, recommendation, consideration, and action upon negotiated agreement between the Guthrie Association of Classroom Teachers and the Guthrie Board of Education for 2022-2023.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the negotiated agreement between Guthrie Association of Classroom Teachers and the Guthrie Board of Education for 22-23.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the agreement, the negotiated agreement between the Guthrie Association of Classroom Teachers and the Guthrie Board of Education for 2022-2023. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Schroeder?
Yes.
Pearson?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Smedley?
Yes.
Gerard?
Yes.
Clegg?
Yes.
6 ayes, 0 nays.
Item 14 is the recommendation, consideration, and action upon support personnel handbook for 2022-2023.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the support personnel handbook for 22-23.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the support personnel handbook for 2022-2023. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Schroeder?
Yes.
Pearson?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Smedley?
Yes.
Gerard?
Yes.
Clegg?
Yes.
6 ayes, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Item 15 is the recommendation, consideration, and action upon administrator's handbook and salary schedule, not including the superintendent for 2022-2023.
Mr. President, I move we approve the administrator's handbook and salary schedule, not including the superintendent for 2022-2023 as presented. Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the action in the administrator's handbook and salary schedule, not including the superintendent for 2022-2023. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Smedley,
Yes.
Gerard,
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
6 ayes, 0 nays.
Item 16, motion passes. Item 16 is adjournment. Is there a
I
motion?
make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second for adjournment. Roll call vote, please.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Smedley,
Yes.
Gerard,
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
6 ayes, 0 nays.